Hello there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
Trump defends his migrant remarks echoing Hitler, denies fascist links. The U.S. Immigration Court backlog balloons exceeding 3 million cases. New York City debates ending its 60-day shelter rule for migrants. Biden's use of private detention centers for migrants rises. A new report sheds light on the 400,000 migrant children in the U.S.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week, right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
former President Donald Trump has defended his comments about migrants poisoning the blood of America, emphatically denying any parallels to fascist ideology. Speaking at a rally in Iowa, Trump disavowed having read Hitler's Mein Kampf, while continuing to assert his hardline stance against illegal immigration. This comes amid a surge in illegal border crossings, which Trump attributes to the current administration's policies, claiming without evidence that migrants bring crime and disease. His inflammatory language has drawn criticism and comparisons to extremist views. Meanwhile, his call for stricter immigration policies, including barring citizens from certain Muslim-majority countries and ideological screening, reflects what many view as an increasingly authoritarian tone. Trump's language has raised alarms among extremism experts, drawing parallels to the rhetoric used by white supremacist attackers in recent years. Despite this, Trump remains a leading figure in the Republican arena, aiming for a dominant showing in the upcoming Iowa caucuses.
And next up, for update number 2.
America's immigration court backlog has skyrocketed, now exceeding 3 million cases. This surge, largely fueled by an influx of asylum seekers at the U.S. border, presents a daunting challenge for the legal system. Data from Syracuse University reveals a staggering rise from 1.9 million in 2022 to over 3 million by November 2023. The backlog now exceeds Chicago's population, with some immigrants facing years-long waits for court appearances. This crisis is straining the courts, each judge handling over 4,000 cases, and has become a significant political issue, especially for President Biden as immigration emerges as a pivotal topic for voters. The administration's response includes appointing 302 judges and seeking funds for 150 more. However, despite these efforts, the system struggles under the weight of new cases. Meanwhile, migrant encounters at the southwest border have hit record highs, adding pressure to an already overburdened system.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
In New York City, a rallying cry echoes outside City Hall as elected leaders and immigration advocates demand an end to the city's contentious 60-day shelter rule for asylum seekers. The rule, which requires migrants to leave city shelters and reapply for placement every 2 months, has sparked widespread concern, particularly as winter approaches. Public advocates emphasize the city's moral responsibility, urging Mayor Eric Adams to rise to the occasion and not let pressures compromise the city's values. In response, Mayor Adams highlights the 80% success rate of the current program in stabilizing lives, but also reiterates his call for federal assistance. The mayor labels his administration a victim of its own success in managing the influx of 150,000 migrants over the past 18 months. As the debate intensifies, the mayor's office announces a reevaluation of the 60-day stays scheduled to end this year, signaling a possible shift in policy as the crisis continues to unfold.
And moving right along, update number 4.
In a stark contradiction to his campaign promises, President Biden's administration is increasingly relying on for-profit detention centers for immigration cases. Despite vowing to end private prisons, under Biden, the number of people in immigration custody has surged from 14,195 in January 2021 to 36,755 by December 2023. The ACLU reports that 90% of detainees are in facilities run by private companies, highlighting the administration's deepening dependence on the private sector. This reliance persists despite efforts to reduce for-profit involvement, with the Department of Justice working to phase out contracts with private detention facilities. However, these efforts don't extend to immigration detention, where for-profit companies continue to play a crucial role. Critics argue that this setup encourages cost-cutting and compromises safety. The administration's struggle to detach from the private prison industry underscores the complex challenges in reforming the U.S. immigration detention system.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
In an unprecedented shift, nearly 400,000 migrant children have crossed the U.S. border alone since 2021. This surge, mainly from Central America, reflects a critical change. Most of these children are now placed with non-parent sponsors in the U.S., diverging from the past trend of reuniting them with their parents. The New York Times analysis of Health and Human Services data reveals these children are disproportionately distributed in small towns and urban areas, often burdened with the expectation to work, frequently in hazardous conditions. Tragic stories like Marcos Cux, injured at a poultry plant, and Carolina Yock, juggling school and a full-time job, highlight the dire circumstances these children face. The Times, after a legal battle with HHS, has obtained detailed data on these children's placements, offering a granular view of this pressing issue, and is releasing a comprehensive dataset to further public understanding and reporting on this vulnerable workforce.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.